Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 314 for September 19th, 2023. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, Patrick Mahomes restructures his contract, the Canadian Football Hall of Fame inducts 7 new members, and are the XFL and USFL in talks for a merger? But I'm not all here. Yeah, I'm not all here. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me is my son, Adam. Go for it, son.
Wow.
Let me have it.
You're
Here.
definitely not all here. Neither am I. I'm kind of fighting a sore throat kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I don't have a microphone stand today,
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
can
holding
blame-
the microphone in my hand.
So now that
Very awkward.
Yeah, I have to transport all our equipment over here, or like one equipment. And
You had one job
I
to
forgot
do.
one crucial element. So now Randy's got to hold the microphone all episode.
Yeah,
I
I mentioned
offered
the
to
other
hold
day.
it.
I said, "Don't forget the microphone," and you were like, "Oh, come on! Don't give me some credit. I won't forget the microphone." You brought the microphone, but
did
you
bring
forgot
the
to bring the stand.
I forgot the little stand it sits in. Yeah, my bad. Mistakes were made. All right, you already made a mistake on the podcast.
Yeah.
I made this mistake. Let's all just move past it. So if you hear any little noises, it's just because Randy's holding the microphone. So if he moves it too much, it might make a little bit of noise. But we should be fine, everybody.
Yeah.
Other than my nasally voice, this should be your typical mistake-ridden This Week in the World of Football episode.
Yeah. Famous last words.
Famous last words. There you go.
All right. Let's see. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with a glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the description of both the podcast and the YouTube videos, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel with the handle @The World of Football, as well as other selected videos, like an episode of Just Lying Around that was posted just this morning, I believe.
Last night.
Was it last night?
Last night. Oh, yeah,
I
we
didn't
got
see
it
till
up.
this morning.
We're going to do it Sunday, but then Kyle was too upset and apparently half drunk / sleepy to do the show. So we held off till Monday to collect our thoughts and our emotions. We talked about the Lions-Seahawks game, which you and I will talk about here in a minute. But we did that. We had week 2 pick videos. Went up on Wednesday as always. And we'll have another one coming tomorrow or Thursday morning, depending on because we record it tomorrow. Aaron's free tomorrow, so we're going to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
See how long that takes me to get up. And then we got a couple other things in the pipeline still in like the runway getting ready to take off. I just got to get some maintenance done on them. But we're going to have a history lesson at some point and have Grave Will Travel in the pipeline. So, yeah, I've just been busy. Okay, I'm one man running this operation, okay?
Well, I did my thing for the history lesson, but I still need to record the voiceover for the Have Grave Will Travel.
Okay, so it's not all on me. Thank God. But
it's mostly you, but
thanks.
I got some things to do too.
But also, I mean, for those of you out there who didn't know, we did celebrate our 500th subscriber on the YouTube channel. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
It's been a fun ride. A special shout out to my friend Erin over in Ireland, who actually was the 500th subscriber. We got that email, and she was number 500. She's like, I didn't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win any door prize, but we appreciate you.
No, you have our eternal gratitude.
Funny thing is, her and I were in. We grew up, went to the same school together.
Mm-hmm.
Same age. She's 1 day older than me. Her birthday is the day before mine, and we've just been friends for years. Keep in touch, and so I was very appreciative to see that she did that. She's like, yeah, I hate being in Ireland because I'm like watching football games at like 3 a.m. or whatever. Like, I hate getting up that early to watch football. She's like, I miss it though.
Yeah, well, she will have our eternal gratitude until we hit 600 subscribers.
Until then,
and then we're done.
Wow.
And it'll be somebody else, unless she's number 600 too. Well,
unsubscribe to resubscribe. Stop doing. Don't encourage that, Randy. What are you doing?
No, we don't want that. All right, so let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right, everybody. Pardon me if I just fly through some of this week because I don't know how long my throat's going to give. I went all day at work without really trying to talk, keeping it to myself to save my voice for this show. So we'll see how I do. Boy, this might be a struggle. So Thursday night saw the Philadelphia Eagles defeat the Minnesota Vikings 34-28 on Amazon Prime. I watched a little bit of this game. Very sloppy first half. Man, the Vikings had so many turnovers. Even the Eagles didn't look great, but that second half, I feel like got a little more entertaining. The Eagles jumped out to a big lead, then the Vikings kind of clawed their way back. But yeah, not a great game, but high scoring, 34-28 final score there.
Yeah, I don't have Amazon Prime, so I didn't watch it live.
You have
But
you have a way to access it.
well, I don't like accessing it.
What
If
are
it's
you gonna
not on
do for the
regular
Lions
TV,
game? Are you coming over for the Lions game?
probably.
Yeah.
But I did watch the end of it the next morning because they reshow it, and it goes off like at 6 a.m. So
Yeah.
like from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. they'll reshow that game, and so I can catch the last part of it on NFL Network, and so that's what I did.
All right, moving on. The Bengals dropped 2 straight, falling to the Ravens 27-24. The Lions lost a heartbreaker in overtime against the Seattle Seahawks 37-31.
Oh man,
You and I watched this together.
yeah, I was busy with other things that day. I actually taped the game. I haven't gone back and watched it yet, but I got to your place in the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
and it was a good game, but you can't give somebody the ball in overtime. They could not stop. What's his name? The
Geno
quarterback,
Smith.
Geno Smith. They could not stop him. That's Detroit has always had a problem with running quarterbacks, and I thought about this going back to Fran Tarkenton, who I hated for years because we would chase him around, and we'd never get him, and he'd throw a 50-yard touchdown pass. So it's just something that Detroit's never been able to do.
Yeah, but even that, it's not like his legs beat us. Kyle and I went through it on the Just Lying Around. Patrick Mahomes had 45 yards rushing. I think we talked that Gino only had 20 or 30 rushing yards.
No, I'm not saying
he
he
didn't
was
scramble.
Yeah, he was scrambling. He's not, there to run, but he gets away from Aiden Hutchinson and the whole defensive
He
line.
eluded some pressure a few times. But,
Yes.
I mean, Gino's talented. I'm not going to knock him. Like I said, I thought the Seahawks were a great team, and I was trying not to take them lightly.
Mhm.
But I think it does bring up the forever discussion of do the NFL overtime rules need to be tweaked? And I'm not saying as a Lions fan I think they should just because we lost this one. But I do think just overall, I think the NFL needs to overhaul these overtime rules. And let me throw this proposal at you. I have 2 options for what I think the NFL should do overtime wise. I don't think they should go college rules. I think you want overtime to remain the same game. That's always kind of been my philosophy is that, well, I think that's fun in college, set it up at the 30 and you try to score.
Yeah.
And even though when you get to the point where you have to just do 2-point conversions, it can be kind of fun, but you want the game to still be the game and not like you played 4 quarters one way and then now you're just going to change it.
Right.
I think you either don't do overtime at all regular season. If it's a tie, it's a tie. I know
I
that
don't like
that might not sit well with other people, but I was thinking about this really hard. I'm not even kidding. I think if those 2 teams are evenly matched to get to to the end of regulation, just leave it at that. Move on. 1, you're saving the guys from playing extra time, and 2, no one loses. It's a tie. You move on. They do it all the time in soccer. I know that for the NFL, for 18 games, a tie kind of screws stuff up, but I think that's fine. But the playoffs, you could do overtime. But if you decided to still do overtime in like the regular season instead of my first option, my second option is play a full 15-minute quarter as if it is the fourth quarter all over again. And then if you don't have anybody in the regular season at the end of that period that is in the lead, done. But it's no, you score a touchdown, the game's over. I think you have to play the full 15.
I say do the 10 minutes that they've got now, but make it so if the first team scores, the other team gets a chance to equal that, and then it's a sudden death after that.
I still don't think I still don't like that. Like, I think it should just be play the full quarter. It's a game of football. Play like a quote unquote fifth quarter. All the same rules. Just make it the fourth quarter again. 2 minutes at the end. Maybe teams will get like an extra timeout back. maybe there needs to be a built-in strategy to make it interesting where it's like when you get to the end of the fourth quarter, and yeah, we're going a long time on the scoreboard here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should move on in a minute. But here's my other idea real quick. What if they you get to the end of regulation and it's tied, but they act like it, the overtime period is like a continuation, like the third quarter going into the fourth quarter. You just swap sides of the field, but you keep the ball where it was. What if a score is tied at the end of regulation? It's just that. It's like say you're driving down it, you're at the 48-yard line. You get at the 48-yard line to start the overtime period. There's no coin flip. There's no, you know, none of that crap. You just start wherever you left off if it's tied, and you just play another quarter. I think there's so many different ways you could go about it that would make it still feel like NFL football, but you get a winner at the end.
I don't like any of your ideas. And,
you don't like anything.
And for a guy that says he's got a sore throat and doesn't want to talk much, you've been babbling for 10 minutes now about one subject. So let's move on and talk about something else.
I think by you not giving your input on that, I think I won. Anyway, so then the Indianapolis Colts defeated the Houston Texans 31-20. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got another victory under Baker Mayfield. How about that? 27-17 over the Chicago Bears. The defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs got a victory over the Jaguars for their first one of the year, 17-9. The Atlanta Falcons go 2-0 by defeating the Green Bay Packers 25-24. What a kooky ending that one ended up being. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 38-10. The Tennessee Titans got a shocking win over the Los Angeles Chargers 27-24. Good for them. This was a weird ending. The 49ers beat the Rams 30-23, but the Rams opted to kick a field goal with like 3 seconds left to cover the spread and lose by 7 points. What in the world? How is the NFL not looking into this collusion? Somebody on that Ram staff must have had the 7 points.
There was talk of something similar to this years ago, where people were just scoring useless points because of the point spread and all that. And I think that might go back to the days of Jimmy the Greek Snyder on CBS when he was giving the betting lines and this and that. So. That's not new. It may be coming around again. I don't think it was a problem for a long time, but yeah. And also in this game, wasn't it the first time that
yes,
the number 1 overall pick faced Mr. Irrelevant for starting quarterbacks? So, Brock Purdy.
Stafford versus Purdy.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I'd never thought about that, but there you go.
Mr. Irrelevant got the victory in that one. Speaking of irrelevant, the Arizona Cardinals, an irrelevant team right now, blew a heck of a lead against the New York Giants. I think they were up 20-0, and they ended up losing to the Giants 31-28. The Giants, who didn't score a point in the first 6 quarters of play this year. I didn't think they were going to score a point in this game until they clawed back and got the victory over the Cardinals. Then we're going to move to Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys defeated the other New York team 30-10. Boy, the Jets are probably missing Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah, the Jets are who we thought they were without Aaron Rodgers.
And then what an ending for the Commanders defeating the Broncos 35-33. Did you see this?
I don't think so.
Russell Wilson throws a Hail Mary pass to get the touchdown as time expired. So
yes, I did.
Then they get to go for the 2-point conversion and miss it. So you lose by 2 points. They're hoping to get it to overtime, but the Commanders coming out with a win there.
Yeah, that reminded me of the old Michigan-Colorado game that Slash, the quarterback for the Steelers.
Oh, he was Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, he was for
Slash.
He was the quarterback of Colorado back in those days, and that's kind of how. Of course, they won that game on that touchdown, but that play was very, very similar. 50-yard line, he just heaved it and kind of bounced around a little bit, and they came up with it.
All right, then on the Sunday night game, the Dolphins defeated the Patriots 24-17. Then on Monday night, we had a doubleheader. The first saw the Saints defeat the Panthers 20-17, and then the Browns lost to the Steelers 26-22 in a scary scene last night in that Monday night game. I don't know if you watched that.
Yes. Did you see the replay?
They never showed it, but I did see it on Twitter.
Yes, same here. They would not show it.
They would not show it. It was
bad. I got bored with some of the games, so I started to change channel just as they were actually going to show it on TV, and so I missed it on TV, but I did see it on Facebook or Twitter. Gruesome.
Oh my gosh!
I'm glad they didn't show it at first. Because they came out and said, "Well, this is so bad, we're not going to show it to you."
Yeah, when they said that, I was like, "Oh!"
And then I wanted to see it so bad, and I went out and found it.
You got to feel for Kareem Hunt. That's
The
right.
guy that hit him?
No, that's the guy who got hurt, right?
No,
Kareem
Nick
Hunt?
Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Sorry, yeah, Kareem Hunt's who they're trying to sign. My bad, I got them mixed up. They
Yeah.
were like a tandem back. But no, Nick Chubb, man, that guy is talented, and I'm sure there's fantasy owners out there who are gonna go crying about it. But no, it's a dude. Come on, like this dude suffered a gruesome injury. That
Yeah.
was
Oh, when you watched it on TV the first time, you couldn't see what was going on,
no. I
and
was
it
just like
didn't
he
look
just got
that
flipped
bad
up
at
in the air.
all.
Like that's all I saw. But
Yeah.
then I saw a different video on X that showed it, and I was like, oh no, oh boy,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
bad.
that was as
That's
bad as
bad.
the Redskins quarterback Joe Theismann's
Ugh,
injury. But oh man, what
yeah.
did you think of the Browns all white uniforms?
I wasn't crazy about them when they first announced them, but on the field, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dug the look. It took some warming up, but I liked the idea behind those uniforms.
Yes, it's their original 1946 uniforms,
Harking
the
them back to
first year in
that
the
time.
AAFC.
Yeah,
So I kind of like that aspect of it, but it took a little getting used to. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to
right.
be.
And I think matching that against the Steelers, so that black and
Yeah.
white look, I
Yep.
think that was the best case scenario for bringing those uniforms
Yep.
out. I think my ideal matchup would be them and the 49ers. I think seeing those uniforms against each other, like an
Mm,
old school AAFC look,
mm,
would be pretty cool.
mm.
But not bad. Uh, man, what a bunch of crazy stuff in that game last night. I don't know if you saw like Deshaun Watson getting like penalty, like he had a roughing penalty. Like just scrambling around, he like pushed a guy and got a penalty. Like I've never seen a quarterback get a penalty like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's 2 weeks in a row he's done that.
Yeah. I had the game on, but I wasn't paying 100% attention to it, so I didn't hear that. But what about that one soundbite from the Lions game where,
Oh,
where
that'll live in infamy. That'll be one of the that'll go
Russell
up.
Wilson was trying to ask the
No, that
ref what
one
was.
Geno Smith was trying
I'm
to.
Geno Smith. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I keep
but no, that'll go up there with. He was giving him the
giving him the
business.
business. Yep.
What's the other one that they've? I'm sure there's another one, but that's up there with giving him the
Yeah.
business.
I'm talking. No, I'm talking to
I'm
America.
talking to America.
He said it's so matter of
Oh
fact.
my god. Yeah, what a. We all, because we were there when that happened live. Were you
No.
there when that happened?
No.
Okay, when that happened, I was just like, I just witnessed history. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But all right, so that's enough for the NFL scores. We spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
So let's try to fly through the rest of this. So the CFL Week 15. Don't worry, Canada. We did not forget about you.
There was some great game. I watched all the highlights from these games, so I didn't see any of them live.
Yeah.
And they were all fantastic.
It does stick. This is that time of the year now where I feel like the CFL is going to get a little lost. Even
Yep.
for me, like as much as I try to pay attention to them, I mean, I did see a couple of things, and we'll talk about that. But it stinks because like I am in full NFL.
Right.
I'm in Lions mode where we're doing a bunch of different stuff for the YouTube channel. So I am just like locked in.
Well, in years past, we would have 2 games on our TV. When we discovered we could do that, and we'd have an Argonauts game going on one channel and the Lions game going on another. And we, come a commercial break, we'd switch back and forth for a little bit. So yeah, but yeah, now that the NFL is going, they are really taking a back seat up there, but they're still playing some great
Oh, yeah.
football.
Yep. So we're going to start with on Friday night, the defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts defeated the Montreal Alouettes 23-20. Montreal led this game 10-3 at halftime.
Toronto led.
Toronto led this game 10-3 at halftime, but Montreal fought back to take a 20-13 lead in the fourth quarter. The score was tied at 20 apiece when Toronto kicker Boris Beattie kicked a 38-yard field goal with 21 seconds remaining for the win. Montreal had a 45-yard field goal attempt blocked as time expired. Toronto quarterback Chad Kelly completed 21 passes for 275 yards and a touchdown, while Montreal quarterback Cody Fajardo completed 30 passes for 274 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Tyson Philpott caught 9 passes for 105 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, it looked like Montreal was going to win this game, but Toronto came from behind and won it with 21 seconds. But still, Montreal got the ball back, worked their way down the field, and had a chance to tie it up and send it to overtime, but they blocked the kick, and that was all she wrote.
Just like they did in that Grey Cup game, baby.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Then Friday night, the Edmonton Elks got another victory. Good for them.
Yes.
They defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders 36-27. Saskatchewan actually led this game 13-10 at the half. Edmonton quarterback Trey Ford completed 13 passes for 173 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for 70 yards and another touchdown. Running back Kevin Brown ran for 175 yards and a touchdown. Then for Saskatchewan quarterback Jake Dolagala, completed 20 passes for 213 yards and 3 touchdowns. According to you, the best highlights of the week.
These were the best highlights of the week. There were so many interceptions, balls,
Balls everywhere, Randy.
well, they were popping out of wide receivers' hands,
Balls popping out of hands
into the defenders' hands, and my gosh, there was just so many exciting plays in this game. Trey Ford, his passing stats weren't that good. 13 passes for 173 yards, 1 touchdown, but he ran for 70 yards. The man was everywhere, and he ran for another touchdown. And I'm thinking while I'm watching these highlights, I want to see Trey Ford win a Grey Cup. I think it's just a matter of time. Maybe not this year. They've only got 4 wins this year. They started out really bad, but yeah, he's going to be a really great player up there in the CFL, and I would love to see him lead that team to a Grey Cup win in the next few years.
Well, they're not out of playoff contention yet. So,
No,
I mean,
it's true.
Where they're sitting right now, we'll talk
in the
about
playoffs,
it. They
yeah.
could definitely make some ground up, depending on what else happens. But we still got a couple of games left to cover. On Saturday, the Tiger Cats of Hamilton defeated the Blue Bombers of Winnipeg 29-23. How about that?
Yeah.
It was their Hall of Fame game up there in Canada. Quarterback Taylor Powell for the Tiger Cats completed 20 passes for 236 yards and a touchdown, while running back James Butler ran for 82 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Tyreek McAllister returned a missed extra point by Winnipeg, 126 yards. That's right, 126 for 2 points.
I posted this highlight on one of our social media platforms. I forget which one, probably Facebook or maybe it was Twitter. But yeah, what a great! He was way in the back of the end zone, and just took that ball out. I thought it was a missed field goal the first time I saw it, but it was just an extra point. That's a long ways to go for 2 points for your team. 126 yards, but that was an exciting play.
Yep, and then for Winnipeg, quarterback Zach Caleros completed 21 passes for 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He also ran for an additional touchdown. Wide receiver Nick Dembski had 6 catches for 137 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Dalton Schoen had 8 catches for 110 yards. And then finally, our final game of the week for the CFL, the British Columbia Lions defeated the Ottawa Redblacks 41-37, a high-scoring game there.
This was back and forth. This was a wild finish.
Yeah, British Columbia wide receiver Terry Williams returned a missed field goal, 120 yards for a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but British Columbia ended up scoring a touchdown with 16 seconds left in the game for the win. British Columbia quarterback Vernon Adams completed 26 passes for 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Wide receiver Justin McInnes had 8 catches for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, while wide receiver Lucky Whitehead had 6 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. There's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Yeah, he's still up there. He had a great season last year. He's kind of been silent this year, but I wanted to mention him because
always good hearing about Lucky Whitehead. And then for Ottawa, quarterback Dustin Crum completed 19 passes for 233 yards and an interception. On bye this week, the Calgary Stampeders. And real quick, let's go down the CFL standings. For the East, the Toronto Argonauts sit at 11-1. They did clinch that East Division, which means all roads lead through BMO Field there in Toronto.
Yep.
Montreal sits in the second spot, I guess maybe right now, tied with Hamilton, 6-7 apiece between Montreal and Hamilton. Then the Red Blacks at 3-10 at the bottom of that division. In the West, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers did clinch a playoff spot. They haven't earned home field advantage yet, but they are at 10-4, followed by the British Columbia Lions at 9-4. Then you have the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 6-7, the Calgary Stampeders at 4-9, and then the Edmonton Elks at 4-10. So the Elks only a couple games back behind the Roughriders. Just saying.
Yep. Yeah, hopefully they can win a few more games and make the playoffs because I do like Trey Ford.
I would love to see the Elks come back and make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that. Yeah. All right, and that is it for the CFL scores. Now we're going to give my throat and me a break, and you guys a break from listening to my nasally self, as Randy's going to talk about the college football scores for the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of scores here. Number 1, Georgia over South Carolina, 24-14. Number 2, Michigan over Bowling Green, 31-6. Number 3, Florida State over Boston College, 31-29, in a very close game. Number 4, Texas over Wyoming, 31-10. It was number 6 Ohio State over Western Kentucky, 63-10. These blowouts are still prevalent here in week 3. Maybe after this week, we might see some closer scores as they start playing their conference games. Let's see. Number 7 Penn State over Illinois, 30-13. Number 8 Washington over Michigan State, 41-7. Number 9 Notre Dame over Central Michigan, 41-17. Number 10 Alabama over South Florida, 17-3. Florida upset number 11 Tennessee, 29-16. Missouri upset number 15 Kansas State, 30-27, and the winning field goal as time expired was from 61 yards out by kicker Harrison Mevis.
Heck of a kick.
Yeah, remember that name, Harrison Mevis, your next great college kicker going to the NFL.
I thought you were going to say the next great Detroit Lions kicker that they're going to do.
Who knows? Well, we can always use a good kicker, but yeah, 61-yard field goal as time expires in that upset win. Number 18, Colorado over Colorado State, 43-35 in overtime.
Double overtime.
Yeah, you watched this game?
I did.
I didn't find it. And didn't it come on like 10 o'clock at
10
night?
o'clock at night.
That's why I didn't see it. I was
Yeah,
in bed probably.
I'm sure.
Then.
But I was out and about because
I looked for it.
Well, I was at the movie theaters because I saw 2 of the 3 Batman movies, Christian Bale Batman movies.
Totally unrelated.
So unrelated. So I get out of the theater at 12:30. I get home. I'm like, oh hey, that Colorado State game's on. So I sat down to watch that, and Colorado was down. And I kept going, man, I can just turn this off and go to bed. And Colorado will probably end up losing this. But I was like, something was telling me, hold on. Colorado, like something was just telling me, hey, keep watching.
Mm.
And I'm so glad I did because Colorado clawed their way back, and that team has. I get the hype. I get it. I don't think they'll be undefeated by the end of the year. Don't get me wrong. They're a great, fun story. They're a great team to watch.
They're the story of the year in college football, that's for sure.
What is it? Shador Sanders?
Shador, yeah.
Shador, unbelievable talent.
Hmm.
And then the other Sanders playing in safety. He had like an interception return for a touchdown, I guess, at the beginning of the game.
Doesn't he play safety and
There was no
offense and defense?
That's the player that got hurt.
Okay.
That dirty play.
Hmm.
I forget the player who hit him.
Oh, on the sidelines?
Yeah.
Okay.
He got hurt, so he'll be out for a few weeks. And the kid that had the dirty hit, there's a story that's been going around that he's been receiving death threats and getting a lot of messages from people for that dirty hit.
Mm.
So it's unfortunate. I'm sure it wasn't on purpose. I mean, who knows? I mean, emotions run high on a football field, especially in a rivalry game like that.
Yep.
In a game that, oh my God, it didn't help that the Colorado coach is sitting there talking about, before the game, I always take my sunglasses off when I talk to. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, you're just throwing fuel on a fire.
And it just so happens that Dion had a sunglasses deal with a company ready to go. It's just like, how does this happen? I mean, Dion is quickly becoming, I think, one of the best coaches.
Mm.
I don't think he'll go to the NFL. I think his bread and butter is going to be college. And he is proving to be a fantastic college coach. I know we're talking 3 games into his career at Colorado, but between what he did at Jackson State and then you move up to this, I would be scared to see what he does with like the recruiting resources of like a Big Ten school or an SEC school. Oh my goodness. Deion Sanders could be. He's in those commercials with Nick Saban for a reason.
Yes. He was featured on 60 Minutes this past weekend. I know you don't watch 60 Minutes, but your mom watches it every week, and she taped it, and she brought it to my attention because I wasn't watching it with her, and she brought it to my attention, and so I watched that segment, and it was an interview with him recorded several days ago. Might even been before the season, I'm not sure, but very good interview. I mean, he was just being himself and talking about his philosophy and all that stuff. So yeah, that was really good. I'm sure you can find that out there on
I'm sure.
YouTube or something.
60 Minutes puts good stuff together.
Yeah, it was this week's episode of 60 Minutes, so look for that.
But yeah, so anyway, watch that whole game, double overtime. It was thrilling. I was on the edge of my seat. I got done watching it at like 2 or 3 in the morning. It was a long game, but it was so worth it.
All right, let's move on from that.
Sorry.
Let's see. Number 25, Iowa over our beloved Western Michigan Broncos, 41-10. Did you watch any of this game?
Oh yeah, we were messaging.
Okay.
I watched up until Western. I think I last saw when they were up 10-7.
Yeah, they were up 10-7 early, and I thought, oh man, they're doing really well, and then they lose 41-10.
I was like, they got this. Iowa looks like crap. Western's actually playing really good against them. And then and then the floodgates open and
Yeah.
Iowa just couldn't be stopped after that. But
Yeah.
for a while there, Western did look like they had Iowa's number. They looked like they had them figured out.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what usually happens when you have a small school, big school. The big
Yeah.
school's got that depth and got the the experience, and a small school like Western,
Yep.
they didn't jump out to a big lead. They
They scored the first touchdown of
they
the
scored
game
the first
on a
touchdown.
really nice
That's great.
pass.
But like a team like that, you have to have a big lead usually to kind of hang with those big
Right.
dogs. And they just, I don't know, they were like neck and neck, but Western always seemed to kind of hang in there. But
Yeah, this was on not NFL
Big Ten
Network.
Network.
Big Ten Network, yes, which is up in the 400s on my satellite. And I guess you actually got that.
Yeah,
I
YouTube
didn't think you
TV,
did.
yeah.
That's why I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if you were watching the game or not. All right, let's continue. Liberty over Buffalo, 55-27. It was Coastal Carolina over FCS Duquesne, 66-7. Texas State over another FCS team, Jackson State, the one that Deion Sanders came from, by the score of 77-34.
Oof.
And Fresno State shut out Arizona State 29-0. In the military academies, it was Army over the UTSA Roadrunners 37-29. It was Memphis over Navy 28-24, and Air Force over Utah State 39-21. We're going to go on to some FCS scores, and from here on, we're only going to do 2 scores this week. Just trying to shorten up the scoreboard a little bit.
We just got to the half-hour mark, so
well, all I've got is 2 scores, so 2 scores from each division for this. At the FCS level, South Dakota State over Drake 70-7. Portland State shut out North American 91-0. I don't know where North American came from. I'd never heard of them before. They must have been even a lower level below FCS level to lose that bad. And then in Division 2, it was Lenore Rhine shutting out Erskine 62-0. Grand Valley State, just up the road here from us, over Assumption 43-7. Division 3 scores, Kalamazoo College over Defiance 42-35. And Augsburg shut out Martin Luther 62-0. Moving on to the NAIA, it was Missouri Valley over Graceland of Iowa 49-42. And Texas Wesleyan over Oklahoma Panhandle State 31-16. Going on to the junior college scores, it was Blinn over TWA College. I have no idea what TWA stands for. I don't know if that's the airline or what, but they beat them 89-6. And Navarro shut out Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. That's a mouthful. 42-0. Now we go on up to Canada for some college football. It was Windsor over Ottawa, 42-31, and Carleton shut out York, 52-0. Finally, on our scoreboard this week, the Canadian Junior Football League. It was the West Shore Rebels over the Vancouver Island Raiders, 96-14, and the Langley Rams over the Prince George Kodiaks, 39-14. And that's it for this week's World of Football scoreboard.
Only 33 minutes in. Good Lord. We'll do better next week.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Hopefully I won't be as congested.
Yeah.
And I have not a hard stance on overtime.
And I won't have to hold my microphone like I am now.
Well, let's not give me that much credit yet.
Okay. Let's see. In NFL news, Patrick Mahomes restructured his contract. He's now going to be making $210.6 million over the next 4 seasons between 2023 and 2026, which is the most money ever for a player over a 4-year period. He can reportedly earn up to $218.6 million by the time his restructured agreement ends in 2026. Must be incentives and whatnot. And the entire base salary of $210.6 million is guaranteed.
Oh Lordy.
I didn't think anybody was going to do any more guaranteed contracts. I can see it for Patrick Mahomes. I couldn't see it for Deshaun Watson, but Patrick Mahomes, I can almost get behind that.
Dude's got 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say you pay that man, and he's still 20-something years old. Yeah,
he probably would have gotten more money if they hadn't lost to Detroit in the first game of the season. But
I
so they probably knocked him down a mill or two.
But you wait for Joe Burrow and Herbert to get their big fat contracts, and then you go, "I'm Patrick Mahomes, and I'm the best player in the NFL. I want to tweak my deal." He's like Darth Vader. I'm altering the deal, and Hey, look, I have no qualms about Patrick Mahomes doing that. He deserves whatever amount of money he thinks he's worth because the dude is talented. I think he's a decent person, and he's a great face for your franchise. So if you're Kansas City, why not? You want to keep this dude happy if you want him to be there for the next 20 years.
Right, but I think probably I'm sure this has been in the works for a while. But to me, restructuring it means you're taking less money, maybe over a longer period, and the idea is to give the team some more salary cap so
Probably.
that they can get better players. And that was evident because Travis Kelce not there, he's not the same quarterback, so he needs some people
Well,
to back up Kelce and
maybe.
a few other receivers that they probably
He's also
need.
making a bunch of money with his endorsement
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, you could give the team a little bit of a break.
But yeah, that you can't give that money to the team. You just got to come from your contract.
No, I
So
know. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of restructuring to help your team. So I mean, he wants to win. He wants to win for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah. I mean, we always talk about how we used to have Stafford and Calvin Johnson and Ndamukong Suh, and that was well over half of our
80% of our
yeah
cap.
of the salary for the entire team is just in those three players. So everybody else was not that good. That's why we weren't winning anything. That and the fact we weren't very good at the
That now
time.
salary cap
But
wizardry is like something. It's a
yeah,
science
yeah,
now.
I don't know, but yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes sees that if I give more money back to the team, they can spend that on other players, and they'll put some good people around me because just having Kelsey out was a struggle for him. The other guys were dropping balls left and right, so yeah, it's a wise thing for him to do. It's good for him. It's good for the team. It's good for everybody. All right, let's move on. The NFL will be expanding practice squad rosters in 2024 by one player to allow them to sign an international player. Now, they've been doing this up in Canada for a long time. They've got agreements with several football leagues in different countries, Australia, Europe, Mexico, whatever. And they've always had a foreign player or two, on their team. And so I think the U.S. is trying to do that too. I think the fact that they're playing in England 3 times and Frankfurt 2 times this year, they want to get some players from these other countries to get the interest going in the NFL over there. So it makes sense that they would allow one more person on the practice roster to get them on the team, get them some experience or whatever. And then after last week's uh, horrific ending to Aaron Rodgers' season, the NFL Players Association came out and said that they want the stadiums to all use natural grass because they're saying that the artificial turf is what caused his injury. Now, that Nick Chubb injury last night was on natural grass. That the field, I think, really doesn't have much to do with it. I know the NFL says that statistically they're about the same. If you look over so many injuries of certain kinds over the years, that it doesn't matter if it's grass or synthetic turf, they're going to be about the same. And didn't Detroit put in a new field because they had the wrong kind of artificial turf
Supposedly,
year or
yeah.
two ago? I didn't know there was different kinds. I thought field turf was field turf, but I guess there's different kinds of field turf. And they had one that the Players Association really didn't like, so they put in a new field this year,
Yeah.
and hopefully that'll be better for everybody.
To me, I think the Nick Chubb injury last night. He was in midair. That has nothing to do with the grass. So I wouldn't even you know
Wasn't his foot stuck in the ground when he got hit?
he was
And
like up in the
I
air.
I saw it a different
He was
way.
up in the air. He was not even on the ground at that point. But like we've seen like Kyle and I when we were driving home today, or I dropped him off and I came here. Uh, he was asking me about the injury thing. He's like, "Do you feel like there's a lot more injuries this year?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it does feel like it.
There
It
have been
does
the last
feel
couple of
like
weeks.
it.
A
Like
lot of people are getting injured this year.
Saquon's hurt. The Amon Ra's dinged up. The Lions
Right.
lost C.J. Gardner Johnson supposedly for the year.
Hmm.
How many of these are turf injuries or not? Hard to say. You have to really look at some really
Yeah.
fine data for all that.
Yeah.
But it does feel like a lot of the games I've been watching, players are getting hurt on these artificial surfaces. I know injuries will happen still on the natural grass, but if you're the NFL and if the NFL Players Association has decent data to support this, and if maybe I don't know if the NFL is obviously going to refute it because they want to do what they want to do, but you would think if they eventually got to that point, the league makes so much stinking money,
Hmm.
they could just create a field fund, which would be for all the teams that have indoor stadiums to have
Replace the sod every week.
Yeah, or maybe not every week because when we went to Pittsburgh and got that tour of Acrisure Stadium,
Right.
they had put that uh, grass in. What did they say? Like 2 or 3 days prior,
Right.
and they weren't going to touch it for another week. So like it's got to sit there for a
Mm,
while, and they resod it like once a year, like in the middle of the season.
right.
So your team's bye week comes around, that's probably when you should reside it. I think they could work that out into the schedule too. So I think it's very doable. Uh, maybe some of the stadiums, if they really wanted to get gung ho about it, I know it's not feasible for every stadium. Like Detroit, good luck having like an Arizona style rolling in and
Right.
out to the
Yeah, that's
turf.
not
You
going to
can't do
happen.
that in Detroit.
No.
You'd have to like cart in all the stinking side. But if the league could pay for it, and I'm sure it'd be a drop in the bucket for them compared to
Oh, they'll just start charging people for something else. They're going to make money. And I got a few other stories here that are going to talk about that.
yeah. But I think it could be done, but they're gonna fight tooth and nail for this. This is gonna be an issue we'll talk about for probably years to come.
Well, I think it's come up before, but yeah,
It has, but I think
because of Rogers' injury, it's been brought
I
up
think it's
again.
gonna start getting worse. The more and more we see of especially this year so far, if this keeps happening, yeah, it's gonna be on the tip of everybody's tongue going into the off season.
Another story: Barry Sanders had a statue unveiled outside of Ford Field. I thought it was going to be the morning of the game, but they actually did it on Saturday. So there was all this, coverage on the pregame show of the unveiling event, and Mrs. Ford was there, and Sheila Ford Hamp, and two of her sisters were there. You don't see anything of Bill Ford Jr. at any of these events. That's really so weird because when his father was alive, it was the two of them that you always saw on the field in the owner's box, and as soon as uh, Mr. Ford passed away, and Mrs. Ford took over, Bill Ford is nowhere to be seen. It's so weird. I don't understand what's going on there. Maybe they figure his job is to keep the company running, and not worry so much about the team.
Maybe.
But in my mind, he was always going to be the successor to take over the team. But that has not been the case.
What a
I
weird.
mean, I'm happy for Sheila Ford Hamp and Mrs. Ford. They've done a great job, but it's just so weird that Bill Ford is nowhere to be seen these days.
The title of this news thing is Barry Sanders gets a statue, and you
Yeah.
spent a minute talking about the Ford family. But look,
I thought that statue was awesome.
it's a good thing. I'll get back to your Ford thing in a minute, but let's talk about that statue. I think it is a cool looking statue.
Never
Not
seen
as big
anything-
as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. But supposedly it's an 8-foot statue of Barry, and he's only like 5 foot something.
Yeah.
He's not much taller than I am, and but it's very unique. It's very much Barry Sanders.
I think I saw somewhere. I don't know if it's official, but you could get like a mini replica of the statue.
I'm there.
But
I'm there. You know what you can get me for Christmas now.
oh, great! It depends on how much it is. It might be a couple $100.
And
but-
I also want an Aiden Hutchinson Funko Pop.
oh yeah, of course you do.
They're all out of stock right now, so when they
course they are.
resupply them, see if you can get me one of those too.
If we have any loyal fans that want to help pitch in, you can do that. That'd be appreciated. But no, so yeah, I think it's cool. Cool statue. I can't wait to go check it out when we
Yeah.
go to that Lions Raiders game later this year.
Yep.
But and then your Ford comment. Growing up, it was always, oh, can't wait for Bill Ford to take over.
Yep.
Can't wait for Junior to take over the team.
Yeah.
And when that day finally came, for new ownership, new people to take over, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the story is there. I would love to see some sort of like behind the scenes, like
Right.
here's
Maybe
some
maybe
story.
somebody from Detroit can interview Bill Ford about that.
Maybe it's out there. We just don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
But I
nothing
do
I've
think
seen.
he's just so preoccupied with the actual running of Ford Motor Company that
Yeah.
maybe he does that.
and they went, the auto workers union went on strike just last Friday, so he's probably pulling his hair out trying to get a deal done.
That's what he pays people for.
Yeah, well, whatever. But it was just weird. I mean, I thought it was a great little ceremony they had. Barry got up and said a few words, but yeah, his mom had a T-shirt on of that had like the logo had his number, and it had a picture of him, and it looked like the statue, because I think that statue comes from an actual photograph of him playing in some game. I don't know exactly what game that was, but yeah, it looked really cool. I can't wait to go see that statue and get my picture taken with it when we go there for the Monday night game this year. So
And then,
that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Then while we're on the subject of Barry Sanders, real quick, I just remembered this. the documentary coming out.
Oh
Bye Bye
yeah,
Barry on
yeah.
Amazon. I'm like looking it up right now to see what the date it's supposed to come out. But I say like November.
I heard
I,
a date. I can't remember what it
yeah, I don't
was.
see a date on that. I got it pulled up open on Amazon. I don't see an actual date.
But no, I mean, back in those days, back in '89, when he suddenly retired, I saved every news.
99.
Was it night? Oh yeah, '98. '98 was
Yeah.
when it was. I saved every newspaper clipping. I've got them all in scrapbooks for like a whole week of all the different articles about him and how they tried to get him to come back and the um, Bobby what was her
Ross.
Bobby Ross like went to his house, knocked on his door, and tried to talk to him, and he's like, "No, I'm retired. I'm done." So yeah, I would love to see a documentary on that. That
It
was
should
a
be interesting. It probably bring up a
very
lot of
interesting.
old emotions because you were pretty bitter for a few years.
I was not the fact that he retired. I mean, I know that the NFL is a tough job, and he I didn't like the way he retired.
Right.
You know, he had every right to retire after 10 years. You know, my body can't take it anymore. This team doesn't look like they want to win, so, you know, it's not fun anymore. I get all of that. It's just the way that it happened, and that's hopefully what this documentary is going to talk
Address.
about. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see when that comes out, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. All right, moving on to another story. The Hollywood writers' strike has impacted football in a positive way. I don't know if you heard about this. I just found
You
this out
you
today.
sent me the article, I think.
I don't know if I
Somebody
did or
sent it
not.
to me. I was looking it over because it was interesting. I'll
But
say
anyway,
that.
ABC television network has added 10 more Monday Night Football games to their schedule to fill in the gaps in programming caused by the writers' strike in Hollywood. You know, they can't get their regular Monday night lineup of shows started because of the writers' strike. And I guess they were already going to simulcast 8 games this season, 8 Monday Night Football games. So, you know, the game's on ESPN and is on ABC. Now they're going to do all 18 games because they don't have any other programming. So, yeah, it just makes sense.
It does, and especially it's already owned by the same company. Now you're just
Right.
doubling down,
Yeah,
adding more viewership. Like,
sure.
yeah,
More places for people to find it.
yep,
You know, I can't believe that some people don't have ESPN these days, whether
yeah.
it's uh,
You'd be surprised.
online
People are
or
frugal, man. Or
yeah.
they'll illegally stream
I know
stuff.
I like my satellite dish, and if it's not on TV where I can just flip to a channel and watch something, I don't really go out of my way to go get a streaming service to watch a game.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's
It should be interesting. And then I didn't realize they've been doing all these double headers for Monday Night Football.
yeah.
Like that's
I
crazy to
just
me.
I just learned about that in the last day or so. Also, there are actually 3 Monday Night Football doubleheaders this season. Week 2, which was this week. Next week, there's going to be another doubleheader, and then in Week 14, they're going to have another Monday Night Football doubleheader. And the way I was reading the articles, it's basically all about ratings
Of course it is.
because now they've got twice as many people. You know, you got 2 games, so you got fans from 4 different teams all watching Monday Night Football. And it was interesting last night because they had like the score of the other game up in the
I
corner,
like that.
and they went back to one game. You know, when one was at halftime, they switched to the other game on ABC because I was watching it on ABC. And
And then they also, at one point, I don't remember them saying anything. I just kind of looked up and they had it split screen for a minute.
mm,
And I was
oh
like,
yeah,
huh. Like, I don't
both
remember
teams
hitting
were
it.
getting ready to score, I think, and
Oh,
that's why they had that
what a very, that might be the way of uh, the future now.
way of the
Like,
future.
we'll see. But 2 Monday night games is a little much.
They only one started at 7 and one started at 8.
I did like that they broke it up like that a little bit, but I don't know.
I think
Like,
in the past, didn't like one start at 6 and the other one at 9?
yeah, something like that.
Because you know one
So you
was
can at
just
least watch
getting
both of them back to
right,
back.
right.
But now it's like overlap by an hour, so it's like, oh, I get to watch an hour of Saints Panthers, and then if I want, I can flip over to watch the beginning of the Browns and
Right.
Steelers. Like,
I think this is only going to get worse as years go by. I think you're going to have Monday night doubleheaders all 18 weeks or whatever in the future. Eventually, that's what they're slowly leading up to. And
maybe.
once they get all this, they see, oh look, we made this much extra money in ad revenue from 2 networks doing 2 different games at the same time. Yeah, we're going to do this from now on.
I guess it makes sense. I mean, you start spreading out, all these teams across 4 different nights. Your Thursday nights, your Sunday nights, your Monday nights.
Mm.
Who knows? Maybe they'll start, breaching Saturday. I know Saturday will be for college football, but maybe they'll figure out a way to make Friday night football for the NFL. Who knows? But
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, 2 Sunday night games, 2 Monday night games, 2 Thursday night games. I mean, you start spreading all these teams out a little bit. Everybody gets quote unquote national exposure. We won't have to talk about how one team got the shaft this year and
Right, yeah.
didn't get a national televised game.
Now everybody's going to have to pull their weight in the NFL to get those ratings up there for
Oh, I can't wait. Week
every
week
night.
18, the 0-17 or 0-16 Cardinals versus the 0-16 Bears on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Get that tailgate going early. This is going to be awesome. Somebody's going to get their first win of the season.
Or will they tie and it won't matter?
Our last NFL story, something that you just brought up to me a little while ago. Matthew Stafford looks like he's going to be if probably one of three people on the new season quarterback. I had not heard that until you brought this up to me, but I guess you were watching the Pat McAfee show.
Well, I saw it on the internet. It made its rounds on X, and I know Pat McAfee talked about it too. But yeah, Stafford's the first one to be officially kind of announced. So that kind of makes me think that he's the Patrick Mahomes of this season. You know, the Super Bowl winning quarterback who was bouncing back from an injury. So like, there's that story right there. And I mean, Stafford's looked great to start the season. He's got a great young receiver that I had never heard of before, filling in for Cooper Kupp. So I think Stafford will be interesting, and his whole family dynamic will be interesting to see him and Kelly.
Yep.
Kelly's podcast and their 4 kids. Yeah. I think that'll be a fun story to follow.
I would watch it.
Now it's who are the other 2 quarterbacks that you pair along with him to kind of create a very diverse story around.
Right.
That's where I'm at. Like, is it a Jared Goff? And you would almost feel like, is Jared Goff that other link because they were connected in that trade? And here they are doing, you know, Goff is looking great in Detroit. Stafford's coming back in LA. Like, I feel like there's something there. But you think in Detroit or Michigan, we would have heard whispers of Goff being on there.
You know what? I recorded the local Lions pregame show and the NFL Fox NFL pregame show, and Jared Goff was on both of those. And I have never seen Jared Goff before on any of these pregame shows. No interviews, you know. So you might be right, because just from the fact that he's been on a lot of, he's been getting a lot of coverage this year. That he's not shying away from it. Tells me that you could be right.
Maybe we'll see.
Jared Goff could be one of the other 2 quarterbacks.
Right now, that would be super interesting to me.
I hadn't thought about that connection.
But then, because last year's was. Yeah, that would make sense, because then the third option would be a young up-and-coming guy that we're unsure about. And who could that? That's any number of these guys. Could it be a Jordan Love? Could it be a maybe that Caleb Ritter down in Atlanta filling in after Mariota last year?
I would think one of the rookie quarterbacks,
or like a Justin Field, or something. Maybe not a rookie, but like a younger quarterback that's like. Follow Baker. Oh man, wouldn't it be interesting to follow Baker down in Tampa? I mean,
following Tom Brady and got him off to a 2-0 start. And
there you go. That'd be my pick. It'd be Stafford, Goff, and Baker. That would be some choice television.
Write that down. That's your prediction. We'll see if that comes true in the next week or so.
Bam, book it.
All right, let's move on to some CFL news. The Canadian Football Hall of Fame inducted 7 new members this past Friday night, the night before the game on Saturday. Those players are defensive end John Bowman, who played in Montreal, linebacker Solomon Eliminian, who played for the BC Lions. And
I believe it's aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminum. You're saying it the British way.
No. He played for the BC Lions and Saskatchewan. Offensive lineman Josh Bork. He played.
I believe it's pronounced Bjork.
Yeah,
she's an artist.
He played at Division II Grand Valley State, right up the road from us here in Grand Rapids, and then he went on to play several years for Montreal. Offensive lineman Lloyd Fairbanks. He played for the Calgary Stampeders, Montreal, and Hamilton. Defensive back Barry Crawford, who played for BC and Toronto. And then there were actually 2 in the builders category. There was Coach Jacques Dussault. He coached several college teams, including the University of Ottawa, McGill University, Acadia University, and Mount Allison. But he also spent some time coaching with Montreal in the CFL. And he well, his last college team was the University of Montreal. Also, I think they said he was the first French-speaking coach in the CFL. You would think they would have had one before him, but um, yeah, that's one of his claims to fame. And the last person was the eighth commissioner of the CFL, Larry Smith, who actually played for Montreal as a player and then worked his way up through the ranks to become the commissioner of the CFL. So that's your 7 members. I think they were actually voted in back in March, but the Hall of Fame game was last Saturday, and the induction was the night before. Okay, so we don't always talk about rumors, but we had to talk about this
Oh,
one.
but boy, will we.
There are rumors that the two spring leagues, the XFL and the USFL, are in merger talks for 2024. I don't know if this is true or not, but uh, there are some compelling arguments that this could be true. The fact that they're fighting against each other for players in the spring. They have different schedules. One started. I think they only overlapped by about 2 weeks towards the
You're
end
right.
of the
One
regular
started like the
season.
week after the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and then the other one started mid-April.
So if they could
So
if
they
they
like
could somehow
overlapped.
come to some agreement where they play their seasons at the same time, maybe have some crossover games, or completely merge and come up with a whole new name. I don't know. What I would like to see is I would like to see the USFL and the XFL maintain their own identities, but work together, have their agreements with the NFL, or the CFL for a way for players to get to these leagues and be looked at. It just it does make sense. There would be a lot less fighting between them. They could work together for the benefit of all the players
You could
and the
definitely
teams.
market this a certain way. It should work like Major League Baseball, where they're like essentially two different leagues,
Right,
but they're under one big banner.
right,
Like call it. I mean, the spring league evolved into
right.
the new USFL. So what if it's overall they just call it the spring league?
No,
Then you have your XFL league and then your USFL league underneath that
mm,
big banner,
I
or
don't know
just
about
call it
that.
spring football league.
No,
SPL. Spring wait SF.
no.
I'm groggy.
I said, yeah, you're not feeling good, so
Man,
you're not speaking coherently. No, I want to see them stay separate with their separate logos, separate
they
names.
should.
But at the end of the season, whether they play each other during the season or not, kind of like the old AFL and the NFL, but have a championship game where the winners of the XFL and of the USFL play in a championship game, the USXFL championship game or something like that.
The
Um,
spring championship game.
but I would love to see them play each other, maybe once or twice during the year, and then uh, play each other in a
They
championship
should.
game.
It should
Be like
be.
two divisions.
It should be like I said. Kind of keep it with baseball, where it's maybe you start the year, you play your league, and in the
Mhm.
middle of the year, you spice it up and you do like XFL versus USFL for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
And then you go back to your schedule. And then at the end of the year, we get to the XFL USFL brawl, or whatever you want to call it. Springtime brawl.
Well, these are just rumors right now. A couple of different
Yeah,
sites
we'll
have talked
see.
about it. So I don't know if this is true or not. It does make sense to me that they would do this. I kind of thought about that last year. Why are they competing against each
People have
other?
been saying it from the beginning. Why don't
Yeah,
these
I
leagues just
know,
all
I
merge?
know, but we will see what happens. But I just thought we'd bring it up because if it does actually happen, we've already got a foothold there on it. All right, we got one story from college. MSU's Michigan State University's head coach Mel Tucker has been informed that he will be fired by the school over sexual misconduct allegations. I think it's weird, that they say we are going to fire you, and I think there's something in his contract that said he had 7 days to respond to why they shouldn't fire him, and I think he came out with a
Yeah, I
statement
saw. I
basically
started
today.
reading his letter, and it was
Yeah,
very long, very extensive, lots of
yeah,
bullet points.
yeah. So probably in the next week or so it'll be official, but it looks like they're done with Mel Tucker.
What a mess.
Yeah, it's a really sad, disturbing story. You hate to see this happen to anybody, but
Yeah, I mean, the truth's got to be somewhere in the middle there. But I mean, if they spent so long investigating it, why did it take so long for this discipline to happen?
well,
Like,
they're saying that this got leaked, and the only reason that they're doing this or firing him is because the whole story got leaked. They were going to investigate it some more, maybe do something after the season, maybe. I
so that
don't know.
just, I don't know. We talked last week about how kind of this MSU run, you know, athletic department's
Yeah.
been kind of not in the best
Shady
light. Yeah, a little
over the
shady.
years.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But man, what a mess.
Yeah, it
What
is.
a
And
mess.
it's going on right in our backyard here. East Lansing is like an hour from us. So,
Hour and a half, yeah.
yeah. Let's see. One story from the indoor and the arena leagues. The Topeka Tropics are joining the National Arena League in 2024, they've announced. They've been with champions of indoor football the last 2 years. And if I'm not mistaken, they've won one game in 2 years. They were 0 and whatever, 0 and 12, 0 and 14,
Yeah.
whatever they played last year. And they won one game this year. And I think that was the last game of the season that they finally won a game.
In the press release that I saw, or at least some of the social media posts, they never actually said the Tropics. They used the Tropics logo, but all I saw was Topeka, Kansas is the next city. So I don't know if they'll keep the name per se. I could see them changing the name to something else to kind of get that
Maybe.
Topeka
Yeah.
Tropics.
Yeah, they're associated with a losing team right now, so maybe
look what
they
happened
will.
with the West Texas Warbirds changing to the Desert Hawks. Whatever the heck their dumb logo, Microsoft Paint looking thing is. God, I still can't get over that. Come on, Arena Football League.
All right, we're so close to the end now.
Almost.
Let's see. Today's birthdays, September 19th. Halfback Abner Haynes turns 86 years old today. He played his college football at North Texas. He was selected in the 5th round of the 1960 NFL draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he signed with the Dallas Texans of the upstart American Football League, and he played for Dallas from 1960 to 1962 and won the AFL championship with the Texans in 1962. And he stayed with the team when they moved to Kansas City, became the Kansas City Chiefs, and he played for them in 1963 and 1964. He played for the Denver Broncos in 1965 and 1966, and he finished his playing career in 1967 with two teams, the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. So happy birthday to Abner Haynes. I found no obituaries this week, so that was good. So we'll move right on to our upcoming events calendar. Sunday, October 1st, it's the Atlanta Falcons versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. So get up at 9:30 a.m. for that game. All these games from overseas are all at 9:30 in the morning. But that's also the game where they're going to show it on ESPN Plus and Disney, and they're going to do that Toy Story Fun Day thing. That might be worth checking out a little bit. I don't know if I'd watch a whole game like that, but I'll check it out just like I did with the Slime Time stuff. And a little of that goes a long way for an adult. They're trying, they're aiming it at the kids, which is fine, but I don't want to watch that. I want to watch the real game. Let's see, Sunday, October 8th, Jacksonville is still in London, and this time they're going to be taking on the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be on NFL Network. Sunday, October 17th, Baltimore versus Tennessee at 9:30 a.m. from London. That's going to be on the NFL Network. And Saturday, October 28th, the CFL regular season comes to an end, and we'll know who's in the playoffs by then. And that is everything that I had for this week. Anything that you wanted to bring up? I know you're not feeling good, so we should probably just end this quick and let you.
We will, but nothing new coming in the pipeline right now that I can see. So we can just wrap this puppy up.
All right, very good. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can also like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, where the address is at TWOF Kalamazoo. And we also have an Instagram page now. Just go find us at TWOF Kalamazoo there as well. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us wherever your Alexa devices may be in your home. You can also find the full audio version of this show on YouTube. Just search the YouTube search bar for The World of Football Kalamazoo, or use the handle youtube.com/@theworldoffootball to, land on our page. We would love to have you if you haven't already subscribed. Again, we hit our 500 subscribers this week. That was very exciting. We appreciate all the love. So please spread the word as we continue our journey into gaining more subscribers, like-minded football fiends, if you will. Also, subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment to let us know what you think. And please come be a part of the football conversation. And I promise next week I won't sound this stuffy.
I hope not. hope not. I hope next week I'll have a microphone stand so I don't have to.
Oh, man.
My hand is cramping up so bad right now.
Wah.
It's all your fault. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow.
And we'll see you all next week.